Hello friends, and welcome back to Towne Yoga. Today I have a special practice to share with you. So I wanted today's practice to be very similar to how I teach when I'm teaching at the yoga studio. And for me that does include music. So I'm going to link a Spotify playlist at the bottom of this video, and that's what I'm going to be listening to here on my headphones, just one ear in, while I practice today, so that way you can kind of take a class with me. How I would teach in the studio is I would have my playlist going while I cue us through all the different poses. So I'm going to do that today with you. If you are not able to also open a Spotify playlist while you play this video, no worries. You'll still get a full-length, gentle, all levels vinyasa class. So all levels because I teach a bit of a slower flow. So we're going to take that nice slow flow like I teach in the studio, a full 60-minute class. And the added bonus, if you can, listen in with me on a playlist I made special just for this practice. With that, we're going to get started laying on our mats on the back. So if you have blocks, you can go ahead and grab blocks or maybe even books for a little bit of lift when we come into our lunges. If you don't have them, you'll be just fine. It won't make or break the practice. If you want a blanket for underneath your knees when we're on hands and knees, that could feel really good. And if you want a pillow or a bolster for your head or your legs when we're laying down at our start and stop here, then you can grab that. But know that all the props are optional and they're just there to enhance your practice if you like to use them. If you don't have props, you're totally fine. Just lay out your mat, an exercise mat, create a little space, and then come down to laying. And I'm going to do that thing where I pause the video and then let those who want to come and listen with the playlist know that we're going to hit play right now. I'll put that button up in a few seconds so you can look for that. And we'll all come down to laying on our backs and then sync that playlist if you'd like to do that. Again, I'll show that up on the screen in the magic of editing. So we'll meet down on our backs, just laying with relaxed feet. So as you come to a comfortable position here on your back, I invite you to gently draw your shoulders behind you as you turn your palms up by your sides. Notice your feet naturally splay apart. And just take a little time to connect with your breath, starting with noticing. Just noticing what it's like when you draw air in through your nose, feeling your chest and belly rise. Notice the pause you take at the top of your breath before you exhale out, your belly and chest compressing back towards your spine. And notice the pause you take at the bottom of your breath before drawing fresh air back in. To repeat another mindful cycle. Just noticing, just feeling. And slowly you'll move from noticing maybe to deepening your breath, drawing air further down into your belly as you inhale, holding for just a touch longer, and bringing gentle strength to your exhale, navel to spine, pausing again before drawing another deep breath back in. And out. feeling these stronger breaths in your body, expanding with your inhales, contracting with your exhales. And you might start to notice that as you bring your attention to your breath, your mind begins to quiet as it has something to focus on in the present moment. You slowly let go of what it took to get you here and what you have planned for later. And instead come to the present moment, just feeling what's going on in your body right now through these mindful rounds of breath. Maybe suspending judgment if you feel like the breath is fast or shallow, and instead embracing what it is. And slowly feeling changes without force. Allow your next few exhales to come out of your mouth, making a big sigh. Just signaling your body that it gets to relax and let go, to become comfortable. And then slowly taking your own path and your own pace, begin to draw your knees up towards your armpits. Just resting a hand on top of each shin. Giving yourself a gentle rock side to side to massage out your back. Maybe finding a bit of stillness as you slide your hands to your knees and draw circles. Any direction that feels good, maybe switching. Finding a moment of stillness again before sending your feet up, extending your knees straight and then bending them again back down. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, bending. And when it feels good and you reach those feet up, maybe they stay there. Bringing your hands down to rest on the ground as you inhale your toes back to your shins. Exhale, point them to the sky. Inhale and drawing back. Exhale, pointing up. And just take a few rounds here at your breath pace. Feeling the strength in the front of your legs and a stretch down the back. The next time you draw your toes back to your shins, separate your feet a bit and draw circles at your ankles. Any direction that feels good, your path and pace. And then begin to bring your knees back into your chest. Your heels towards your bum. And if you had anything underneath your legs, you'll just move that prop off to the side, making some clear space to set your heels down in front of your hips. Your knees pointing up to the sky. Just find a long spine. And we want our heels, knees, and the bones of the front of our hips in a line to set up for a bridge as you rest your palms down by your sides. Take a moment to firm through your feet and your hands. And as you inhale, just lift your hips an inch or two up off the mat. Exhale, lowering back down. Inhale, lift a little bit higher. Exhale down, and this one we're going to hold, so maybe you lift a little, maybe you lift a lot, feeling your chest come up towards your chin, And the knees tend to want to move out. So pretend there's a ball between them. You give your knees a little squeeze. Inner thighs engage as you lift your hips and your chest for one more big inhale. And exhale, lower down to the mat, pausing when you get there. Letting your discs between your vertebrae come back to their natural shape. And you'll just reach one hand overhead and roll onto that side of your body. Your top palm just comes in front of your chest and presses you up to a seat. And we're going to pause in a seat for a few breaths. So as you come to a little cross in your ankles, if you notice your knees are really lifted or your back is rounded or it's just not comfortable, I invite you to take some pillows and place them underneath your hips to give your spine a little lift. Or maybe you even just grab a seat and sit on a chair and see how that feels. With hands to your knees, gently lengthen your spine, lifting up the crown of your head. And as you inhale, float your hands up towards the sky, any path you'd like to take, giving your fingers a little wiggle. Circling gently your wrists. And then slowly draw your palms together and lower them down to your heart. Just bowing down for a little breath of grounding, intention, or gratitude, whatever feels right to you. Slowly release your head down, your hands down, your head up. And we'll come to a little side body stretch here. As you inhale, reach your hands up overhead. Exhale, lower your left hand down to the mat. And let your right arm float over as you slowly walk your fingers away. Your shoulder draws away from your ear. Now with your hand grounded, let the top arm come down, look to the earth and let your shoulder follow. As you inhale, open back up, look up, lift up through your chest, turning your gaze to the sky. Exhale, turning gently down. Inhale, press and lift up. One more time, exhale, turning down. Inhale, lifting up, pause here. And just feel a big stretch as your heart opens and you gently press to that bottom palm. And then inhale, lift all the way back up overhead. Opposite side, exhale, your right hand down. Sweeping your left hand over as you gently walk the bottom palm out, maybe bending at the elbow to draw your shoulder away from the ear. Turn your gaze down, let the shoulder follow as you look to the earth. Inhale, turn up to the sky, lifting through your heart. Exhale, back down. Inhale, opening up. And take one more here at your breath pace. Inhale, open and hold, pressing gently to that bottom hand. Spin your heart open a bit more. And then press down to lift all the way back up to the sky. Exhale, your hands down to your heart and all the way to your ankles. So if you've crossed legs, maybe just take the cross the opposite way. Other foot on top. It's optional, but nice to find a bit of evenness. And we're going to take a few torso circles, whether you're on your seat on the ground or up in the chair. If you're on the chair, just slide forward a little bit, drawing hands to knees. Exhale, round through your spine, chin coming down towards your chest. Inhale, move off to one side before you send your heart forward. Exhaling around and back. And just take a few circles, one direction to start. setting your own path and pace. You might look a lot different from me when I teach and I look out. Every student's doing this in a little different way, and that's exactly correct. When it feels most natural for you, switch and take a few circles the opposite way, linking your movements to your breath. The next time you come to a rounded spine, pause for a moment. Feel your chin come down to your chest, rounding a bit through your shoulder blades. And then send your heart forward, lifting your chin up, a gentle arch in your spine. Before exhaling back to neutral, a nice tall seat. And just feeling your breath for a moment here. And we're going to make our way into a tabletop. You can rock right forward, or I like to take my feet off to one side and come to hands and knees. Remember, if you have sensitive knees, you're welcome to place a blanket underneath them, or maybe 2 pillows, one under each. Same with your ankles. If it's uncomfortable, blanket underneath or pillows. And you'll just begin to find a stack of your shoulders over your wrist, your hips over your knees. Notice the gentle spread on each of your fingers as you press down through each. And the tops of your feet rest on the mat. As you exhale, press away from the mat, rounding your spine. Let the back of your neck get long as your tailbone tucks under and you arch. Inhale, send the arch the opposite way. Your belly comes down. The front of your neck starts to lengthen as you tip your tailbone up. And we'll turn this to a flow. Exhale, press and round to your cat. Inhale, arch and lift to your cow. And just let your breath guide you here between these 2 postures, exploring all along the way. Cat-cow is a great place to link your movements to your breath. It's a great pattern to do every day, so you can check in and just kind of have a baseline of how things feel in your unique body and in your unique breath. The next time you round your spine, pause for a moment and see what it feels like to send your hips back towards your heels and then stack them over knees a few times. It's a little bit of a cat child's pose flow. And as you lift up and come down to your arched spine, your cow pose, begin to rock your hips out to the side, a little bit of rounding, and then let your belly come back down, out to the opposite side. Just feeling these half circles here as you open through the side of your hips and your ribs, maybe your shoulders and your neck. And then for the next 5 breaths, just take any movement that feels good here in your tabletop, your cat-cow, or similar flow. Just let your breath guide you. It's nice not to have a destination, but just to explore. And slowly find a neutral spine. Lower your forearms down to the mat. Let your shoulders stack over your elbows. And take a few cat-cows from here. Exhale, round your spine. Inhale, arch. Feeling it a little bit more in your upper back for another round. And And then slowly take your knees as wide as the mat, your big toes together. And let your hips press back towards your heels, arms out in front for extended child's pose. You might be up here, and that's fine. Just let those hips kind of press back. 2 to 3 breaths here. On your next inhale, lift back up to a tabletop. And we're going to come to downward facing dog. Know that at any point you can come back down to cat-cow or child's pose, to come back to your breath and flow back in when it feels right for you, especially from downward dog. So for downward facing dog, notice a spread in each of your fingers, pointer fingers pointing to the top of your mat. Press firmly through your thumb, your pointer, out through each other finger, a little bit of grip as you tuck your toes underneath your feet. And then send your hips up and back, pressing your chest towards your thighs, your head coming down between your arms. And with active hands, you can walk your dog by bending one knee and then the other. Sending your heels to and from the earth as you open up through the bottoms of your feet. And trace that over your heels, up into the back of your legs, your calves, into your thighs, your hamstrings, all the way up to your hips. And then slowly begin to find a bit of stillness. Maybe a little bend in your knee. Heels could be lifted as you find length in your spine, pressing your chest to your thighs, drawing your shoulders down your back. And you can always adjust your stance. Maybe it feels better to bring your hands closer to your feet. Maybe it feels better to take them further away. Explore for a round or two and find the down dog that feels best for you. To pause and take a breath in. From downward facing dog, inhale forward to plank, shifting your hips forward. These come to the same height as your shoulders as you stack shoulders over wrist. Maybe adjust feet or hands. Navel's drawn up to your spine. From here, set your knees down, not under your hips. They're still kind of back. Hips are forward for a modified plank. We're going to take 3 half push-ups here. Sending your elbows back to your ribs. Let your heart come forward and down, maybe an inch, maybe 5 or 6. Exhale, press back up. Inhale forward, maybe halfway down. Exhale up. Inhale halfway forward, exhale up, and this time inhale all the way down, chest and chin come to the mat. Untuck your toes. We're going to find our baby cobra, shoulder heads lift, pointing your elbows back, drawing them together. Your chin is up, and if you took your hands away from the mat, you'd probably find your upper back holding you here. Now set your palms down and press down into them as you lift your chin and chest, growing your cobra. Exhale, lower down. 2 more. Inhale, lifting up. Exhale, down. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower and pause in this baby cobra. Firming a little bit more through the tops of your feet. Feel your shoulders draw back as you inhale, lift to chin and chest. Pause here. We're going to go to tabletop. Exhale, hands and knees. From tabletop, set up for your downward facing dog, pressing through each palm, out through each finger as you tuck your toes and send your hips up and back. Taking one more round of breath just here. And then as you inhale, look to your hands, bend your knees, exhale, walk to the top of your mat. Beginning to look forward as you arrive for this halfway lift as you inhale. And then forward fold as you exhale, maybe bending your knees. So your head can come heavy, your chest resting to your thighs, or maybe your feet are apart, giving a little bit more space for chest and belly. I invite you to take your hands to opposite elbows and maybe bring a little sway into your fold. Slowly release your hands down. Bring your feet underneath your hips if you've taken them out. And take your hands to your legs so you can begin to walk up as you roll up your spine. All the way to standing, where you can take any movements that feel good. Maybe you circle the shoulders, the hips, the neck. Feel good for a few rounds of breath. I'm going to turn to face you as we take a few half salutations here. So with your feet grounded underneath your hips, your knees soft, navel to spine. Bring your hands down to frame your body, palms facing in towards each other. Let your thumbs reach forward as you come overhead, inhaling up. Exhale, hands down to your heart center. Back to your hips where your pinkies float back. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, all the way down. One more. Pausing for a breath here. I'm going to come to the top of my mat here so we can take a forward fold. As you inhale, reach up overhead. Exhale, hands to heart as you send your hips back. With legs bent or straight, let your head come heavy down to the earth. Hands to frame your feet. Inhale, look forward, lengthen, feeling strength in your back, weight in the front half of your feet. Exhale, back down to a forward fold, bend your knees. Inhale, roll up your spine. Slowly drawing up, shoulders and head the last to rise. Beautiful yogis. Now we're going to take our palms out wide, so you'll turn them facing forward. Mountain pose, feet even, lifting up. Let your thumbs reach out wide as you bring your palms overhead. Exhale, hands down to your heart center and all the way back to your sides, palms forward. Inhale, sweep out and up. Exhale, down. One more at your breath pace. And as you pause here, taking one big breath in your mountain pose, we're going to turn that into a swan dive. Inhale, reach your palms out and up. Exhale, turn your palms away from your body as the heart leads you forward and down. Inhale, halfway lift, long spine. Exhale, forward fold, the head heavy to the earth. Look forward, lift through your chin and chest, reversing your swan dive as you send your hands out wide, drawing palms together overhead. Exhaling down through your heart center, back to your sides for another breath in mountain pose. And now we're going to flow into a simple vinyasa. So you can take your own path up and down every time. Maybe you like the hands out wide. Maybe you like forward. Maybe you like to roll up your spine or reverse that swan dive. It's your practice, so enjoy whatever feels right. I'll probably mix and match a little bit. And the same with our vinyasa. I'm going to cue gentle, knees, chest, chin. Cobra, back through tabletop to downward facing dog. You can follow along those cues, or if you've been practicing and you have your own vinyasa flow, you're welcome to take that. I fully encourage it. So finding your mountain pose, your feet firm, your palms facing where they feel best for you. Inhale, float your arms up overhead. Exhale, take your fold, your path down to the earth, finding your head heavy towards the ground. Inhale, look forward, lengthen, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands. Step or float through your vinyasa or join me, stepping back to plank. Pausing when you get there, feeling the shoulders stack over your wrist, heels over your toes. Navel's up to spine before you set your knees down. And then your chest and your chin as you bend your elbows back to your ribs. Releasing the muscles of your belly as you untuck your toes. Inhale, lifting up to cobra. Exhale, back through tabletop. Tucking your toes as you press to downward facing dog. Taking any movement or stillness that feels good to you here. Take one more big exhale, pressing your chest to your thighs. Inhale, look to your hands, bend your knees, step, walk, or float to the top of your mat. Finding a halfway lift as you inhale, a forward fold as you exhale. And inhale, take your path up to standing, whatever that might be today. Meeting back down in mountain pose with our hands by our sides. Enjoying another big breath. From here, if you have blocks, I'm going to invite you to put them to the top sides of your mat. If you have some books or anything of a similar shape to lift up, if not, you'll be just fine. And as you come to standing at the top of your mat in your mountain pose, inhale, take your path up to the sky. Exhale, take your path down into your forward folds. Inhale, halfway lift. And this time, exhale, just let your hands frame your feet, bringing your blocks in if you're using blocks. And with a bend in both knees, step your left foot nice and far behind you. Into a runner's lunge with your front knee stacked over heel. Back heel stacked over your toes. And if you're not on blocks, you're just lifting up with your fingertips. And then we'll lower our back knee down to the mat, remembering you can put a cushion or a pillow under. As you untuck your back toes, take a moment to feel the stretch in your hips here. And we'll take a gentle flow. Exhale, let your hips come back, your right toes draw up, stretching your leg. Inhale, bend forward, a little stretch to the hip. And just flow here for a few rounds at your breath pace. At any point, if you want to tuck the toes and lift the back knee, you can continue your flow here with the back knee lifted, yogi's choice, for 4 to 5 more rounds of breath. The next time you find your front knee stacked over your heel, if your back knee is down, tuck your toes and lift it up. Pause in runner's lunge. Take your right hand up to your right knee. Reach your left hand forward and up. Let your back heel come down as you reach that left hand back, and then float the right hand off the right knee. Warrior 2 as you reach out end to end. Offer your front palm up. Gently reach forward before bringing it up overhead. Reverse your warrior. Maybe the back arm comes around your back. Maybe just down the back leg. As you stay bent into that front knee, take a full round of breath. On your next inhale, reach back to warrior two. Pause. Find your posture. Take your right elbow down to your right knee. Reach the left arm straight up. And maybe turn the fingers forward, palm down as you stretch. Remembering the beginning, we turn our shoulder down, but then we lifted it up. Feel that lift. Maybe use the bottom elbow to help. And then inhale, draw all the way back up to warrior two. Take your right hand to right knee so you can cartwheel the left hand all the way around, turning your back heel back up. Plant your left hand down to the block or your mat and float your right fingers out, maybe up into a nice big twist. Exhale your right hand down, framing your right foot. And then bend your left knee, step left to right. Find that halfway lift. And then exhale down into your folds, bending both knees. Step your right foot nice and far back behind you. From runner's lunge, front knee is stacked over heel. Release your back knee down, untuck the toes. We'll take a flow here. Exhale, pressing hips back, maybe drawing your toes up. Inhale, bending back into the left knee, straightening a little at the right hip for a stretch. And just enjoy taking the flow here for a few rounds of breath, exploring what feels right. Maybe what's tight in your body and pausing to give it a few extra rounds of breath. At any point, if you want to tuck the toes and lift the back knee, you can take the same flow from a high lunge. Adjusting your props to meet your needs. Enjoy exploring, not having a lot of right or wrong, just kind of finding how things feel in your body. And then slowly bend into the left knee. Feel it stacked over your heel. If your back knee is down, tuck the toes and lift them up. Here we are in our runner's lunge. To come all the way up to our warrior two, I'll invite you to bring your left hand to your knee. So you can start to reach the right hand forward, letting your back heel come down. Lift the right hand up and back, and then float the left fingers off the left knee. Reaching end to end in your warrior two. With the front knee stacked over the heel, back leg straight and strong. And that front knee is guiding out over your second to pinky toe as you reach the left palm up. Float it forward and extend overhead, back arm down the back leg or behind your back. Take a breath here in your reverse warrior. Inhale back up to warrior two. Pause for a breath. Feel your posture. Take left elbow down to left knee as you reach your right hand straight up. Or maybe palm forward, reaching your fingertips overhead. Feeling that shoulder spin open through your heart. Big line of energy from your fingers to your toes. Modified side angle. Inhale, reaching back up to warrior two. Pause. Exhale, left hand to left knee. Let your right hand float all the way up, around, back to the block as you turn the back heel back up. And then the left hand floats off your knee, out wide, maybe up to the sky. Big twist for a breath here. Exhale, your hands down to frame your foot. Bend the back knee, stepping right to left for a halfway lift. Back down to a forward fold, or you can take your blocks off to the side. And then bring a bend to your knees, your feet draw apart. Hands elbow to elbow, and just take a little sway in your forward folds. If a different kind of fold calls to you, enjoy finding what feels right in your body. Slowly bend your knees, let your hands come down towards the ground, and inhale, roll up your spine. Taking shoulders back and down. Bring your feet a little wider than your hips, hands to hips, and just circle. One direction to start. Knees can be bent or straight. Take a few the other way. Find a bit of stillness and come back to your mountain pose. We're going to take a vinyasa with a step through to our warrior two here. As you inhale, reach your hands overhead. Exhale, forward fold your path down to the earth. Inhale, halfway lift, long spine. Exhale, plant your hands, step or float through your vinyasa. Maybe joining me as we step back to plank. Lower to the earth by knees, chest, and chin. Untuck the toes to inhale up for cobra. Exhaling back through tabletop, all the way to downward facing dog. Yogi's choice, 5 breaths in movement or stillness in down dog, or maybe you choose cat-cow or child's pose. I'll cue us back to down dog before we lift our leg. Begin to find stillness in your downward facing dog, chest to thighs. Head down between your arms, below your heart. And as you inhale, float your right heel up towards the sky, turning your toes to the right to stack your hips. And maybe you stay here, or maybe you bend your knee, sending your heel towards your bum for a little opener through the hip. Inhaling back up to 3-legged dog, our hips square to the mat. Exhale, draw your knee to your nose, rounding through your spine, heel to bum. Let your knee float back a few inches, and then drive it through, stepping your foot between your hands, or just walking your foot up until it gets there. And this time we'll let the back heel come down. Take the right hand to right knee, floating your left fingers forward, up and back. Reaching the right hand off the knee into warrior two. Offer that front palm up, reach overhead to reverse, just for a breath. Inhaling back to warrior two. Exhale, elbow to knee, reach the left arm up and over. Inhaling back up to warrior two. Exhale, right hand to knees, you cartwheel the left hand around, turning the left heel up. Plant your left palm, float your right hand out and up into a nice big twist. Before releasing your hand down to frame your foot, firm through your palms as you kick your heel towards your bum, and then back to where the wall and the sky meet. Before setting that foot down, inhaling to plank. Exhale, knees, chest, chin, or your path down to the earth. Untuck as you inhale to cobra or upward facing. Exhaling back through tabletop or right to downward dog where we'll meet. Taking 3 to 4 more big breaths here, movement or stillness. Getting ready for our second side. Inhale, float your left heel up and back. Turn your toes to the left to stack your hips, and if it feels good, bend at the knee, letting your heel come towards your bum. The right heel stays square to the mat. Maybe you look under your right arm to keep the shoulders a bit square. And then inhale, lift the left foot back up, hips both facing the mat. Exhale, draw your knee to your nose, your heel up to your bum, rounding through the shoulders. Then let your knee float back and drive through, stepping your foot between your hands or walking it up until it gets there. Pause with me for just a moment. For warrior two, let the back heel come down. Left hand to left knee as you float the right fingers up and back. Left finger extends out, reaching end to end. Offer your front palm up, reverse your warrior, reaching overhead. Inhaling back to warrior two. Exhale, elbow to knee, extending the right hand up, maybe even overhead. Inhaling back up to our warrior two. Exhale, left hand to knee as you cartwheel the right hand around and it plants onto the mat. Heel turns up and you can float the left fingers out, maybe up into a nice big twist. Exhale, left hand down to frame your foot. Kick your heel to your bum and then back to where the wall and the sky meet before setting the foot down. Inhaling forward to plank. Exhale, knees, chest, chin, or your path down. Inhale, cobra up. Exhale, back through tabletop to downward facing dog. And yogi's choice, if you'd like to pause here, or maybe you'd like to take a down dog to plank flow, kind of floating between the two. Maybe you choose cat-cow or child's pose, which is where we'll meet in about 5 breaths. And we'll come down to our child's pose with the knees as wide as your mat, big toes together. Hips to heels, arms out front for an extended child's pose. Take one last exhale here. Inhaling back up to hands and knees, walking into your tabletop. We're going to thread the needle a few times, just feeling a stretch in the shoulder, holding the last one for a breath. And of course, you're welcome to hold the whole time if you prefer that. But for kind of an active thread the needle, ground your left palm down. Reach your right fingers out, maybe even up. And then as you exhale, let your right hand come underneath your left with your palm up. Reaching it out as you come down towards your shoulder and just above your ear and your temple. And then press back to the left palm. Inhale, reach the right fingers out, maybe up. Exhale, thread underneath, palm up as your shoulder and ear tap down. Inhale, open. Exhale, thread the needle, pause and hold here for a breath. Just feeling the twist in your back, maybe a little stretch in your shoulder. Sometimes it feels nice to inch the left palm forward to make it a little deeper, or to set the forearm all the way to the ground to bring a little weight off. Slowly bring your palm back in front of your nose if you've moved it away. Firm down and inhale, sweep out and up. Exhaling back to the mat. And we'll just take a few rounds of cat-cow between to massage along our spine. Exhaling as you round and inhaling as you arch. Returning back to a neutral spine, we'll thread the needle on our second side. So ground down through your right palm. Let your left fingers float out, maybe up as you inhale. Exhale, thread underneath your palm up as you come down to the left shoulder and temple. Pressing to your palm, inhale, lift back up. Exhale, thread underneath. Inhale, back up. Exhale, thread under, and we'll pause on this one with shoulder and temple towards the mat. Adjusting your right hand if you'd like. And if you've moved your right hand away, return it back to your nose, pressing down as you inhale, left fingers out and up. Exhaling back to the mat and down to forearms, where we'll take another round of cat-cow, just exhaling as you round, inhaling as you arch. Feeling the shoulders and neck move. And then one more time, we'll bring the knees out wide, big toes together, sending hips to heels, arms out front for extended child's pose. As you relax down into your child's pose, you can choose to stay right here, or open a bit to the sides by walking your hands both over to the right, leaving your left hip grounded towards your left heel, and just find a stretch to the left ribs as you relax your head and shoulders down. Take one more big inhale here. Exhale, walking back to center. Inhale, walk it over to the left as you let your right hip stay grounded and relax your head and shoulders down to open the right ribs a bit. Take one more big inhale here. Exhale, walking back to center and just relaxing and releasing for another full breath. Slowly walk your hands back towards your legs, rolling up your spine. And we'll come all the way to the mat, bringing hands off to one side. And swing your feet out to the opposite and all the way around to the front of your body. So you can just scoot to the top of your mat. And just plant your feet down with a bend in your knees, and you'll bring your hands to those knees to just lengthen your spine. Pause for a minute, feeling that open chest. And you can take any path down to the earth, but if you'd like to join me, you'll reach your hands forward, palms facing in, and exhale, roll down your spine. And when you get there, take those arms overhead, legs out straight, and enjoy another end-to-end stretch. And we'll set up for a bridge, just bringing your hands down to frame your hips. Bend your knees, setting your heels in front of your bum again. And for bridge, you want your heels close in towards your bum in one line from your heels to your knees to those bones at the front of your hips. Your palms come face down by your side, and we're going to take 3 bridges, holding the last one. So as you press through your feet and your hands, inhale, lift up maybe an inch, maybe 2, maybe as high as you can, yogi's choice. Exhale, releasing right back down to the mat. Inhale, lift the hips up. Exhale, lower them down, and this time we'll hold at the top. So as you inhale, lift your hips up. And pause, feeling the strength in your back. If you'd like to, sometimes it feels good to kind of shimmy the heads of your shoulders underneath your body. And bring your palms together so your arms are like a second spine along the mat. Pressing through your feet to lift the hips as you feel your chest rise up towards your chin. And like there's an invisible ball between your knees, you just give a gentle squeeze to engage the inner thigh without moving. Take one more inhale here in your bridge. Begin to walk your hands out if you brought them together, and exhale, lower down to the mat. Just pausing when you get there, letting the discs come back to their natural shape. And then from here, reach your right foot up to the sky. If you can, take your hands to the outside or even interlace them behind your thigh and just feel your toes come back to your shin before you point them to the sky. And then draw your toes back. Pause here. We're going to set the outside of the right ankle on top of the left knee. So just bend your knee out wide, kind of rotating your hip so you can set the outside of the ankle on your knee. And maybe you just stay right here, letting the knee gently open. Keep those toes flexed back to your shin to strengthen the front of your leg. And if you'd like, you can take your right hand just below your knee, your left hand just on your left hip, and gently press the right hand away, and the left hand down towards the earth, and just feel that rotation at your hip. Option to stay right here if this is feeling good. Or for a little bit of a deeper posture, you'll reach your right hand between your legs, left hand to the outside as you lift your left foot and bring your hands to your thigh or interlace them behind. And you can lift the left heel if that feels good, or let it come down towards your bum as you just kind of draw the left thigh back, the right knee out wide. Just take a little time to feel your posture here. Notice your breath. Take one more big inhale here. And if your foot is lifted, exhale, set it back down. And then we'll all reach our right heel back up to the sky to kind of roll the ankle a little bit, once each way, maybe twice. And just hug the thigh back towards your torso before setting your heel down next to the other. Finding some evenness, that nice long spine. And then inhale, reach your left foot up to the sky. Maybe hands to thighs as you draw your toes back towards your shin and point them to the sky. Inhale and draw back again. And then begin to rotate your thigh out wide as you bend at the knee to set the outside of your ankle on top of the opposite knee. And just pause for a moment, feeling the strength in the front of your leg. Maybe left hand comes just below the knee, right hand to hip, and you'll gently press away and down. Option to stay right here if this is feeling good. If you'd like to try that deeper variation, you'll reach your left hand in between the legs, right hand to the outside as you lift your right foot and take your hands to your thigh, maybe even interlacing behind. Option to extend the right leg straight, or to keep your heel down towards your bum, or anywhere in between really, as you just hug the right thigh up towards your body. Take one more big breath here. Slowly setting your right foot down if you've lifted it up as you return your left foot up to the sky, and just circle the ankle one way and then the other. Hug your thigh back towards your torso for just a breath before setting both heels down. We're just going to take a little twisting motion here. So if you take your feet a little wider than your hips, you can just draw your palms face up by your sides. And if it feels okay in your body, send both knees over to the right as your left hip lifts up. Inhale, center. Exhale, send them to the left as your right hip lifts. Inhale, center, and maybe take another side to side. If it feels good in your body. If it doesn't, then don't. And then the next time your knees come up to the sky, just feel your shoulders under your back. And then if you have any low back issues for your final resting pose, you can just let your knees fall in towards each other. If you'd like to take a traditional savasana, you'll send your heels out to the corners of your mat, just letting your feet naturally splay apart. And as you return back to the natural rhythm of your breath, take the time to feel each phase again. To feel the inhale as your belly rises. To notice the pause before your exhale as the belly comes back to spine. Pausing again before drawing another fresh breath back in. And just feeling each phase of your breath in this final resting posture. Staying present in your body for just a bit longer, the time you've reserved to be just here. You can choose to just stay in this final resting pose, maybe pause the video and hang out here as long as it serves you. If you'd like to transition, let's start with a few deeper rounds of breath, inhaling all the way to the belly. Open mouth as you exhale out. One or two more times, just feeling release and relax with your exhales. And then slowly, at your own path and pace, begin to draw your knees back towards your armpits, resting a hand on each shin. Just taking any little movements that feel good to you, or any stillness if that calls to you. As you find a bit of stillness, Reach one arm overhead and roll on to that side of your body so your arm can be a pillow as your top palm rests in front of your chest for support, and then presses you all the way up to a simple seat, any seat you choose, on the ground, on a couch, on a pillow. And just find a bit of length in your spine and strength in your belly as you float your hands up overhead. And exhale, bring them down to your heart. And we'll close our practice here, yogis. I really appreciate you coming and taking this studio experience with me, whether you did it with the Spotify playlist or without. I hope you enjoyed the practice. If you did, it's very helpful to subscribe so you can get more, hit the bell so you know each time they come up. And of course, hitting that like, commenting, sharing with your friends is all a great way to help grow this Towne yoga community and to just share yoga practices you love with others who might fall in love with them as well. I'll close with hands at heart center just here, bowing down to let you know that the light in me honors and respects the light in you. Namaste.